Chrollo Lucifer's actions all the way back in York New City have doomed the Phantom Troop. Hello everyone and welcome back to Suck War Central. My name is CJ and I've been rereading the York New City arc lately. While reading, I came to realize something with astounding implications for the Phantom Troop. You see, Shalnark Ryusei's fortune, as told by Chrollo with Neon Nostrad's ability, ended up coming true. But based on what we know about Neon's fortunes, this shouldn't really be possible. So let's dive into just what the heck is going on here. As a little refresher, I'm gonna put Shalnark's fortune up on the screen. Now, a lot of this is just circumstantial and poetic fluff, but the line we're most interested in here is when needed most, it won't connect, referring to Shalnark's phone. Now, this can be interpreted in two different ways. For one, it could mean that Shalnark wasn't able to use his phone in combat when Hisoka came to kill him because Chrollo had Black Voice in his book. The other possibility is that it could refer to this phone call that Shalnark missed, which might have been a warning from Machi about Hisoka's plans. Either way, it doesn't really matter because both interpretations came true. I also want to note that Shalnark's fortune refers to the Reaper, and this is absolutely Hisoka. He's consistently portrayed by Togashi as the embodiment of death, and Chapter 351 even refers to him as the Grim Reaper, just a short while before he kills Shalnark. And if we really want to get into the weeds, we can say that this "one time in 3" line refers to how many times Shalnark has been seen using his phone on screen since he got his fortune. The first time was when he used autopilot in the Chimera Ant arc. The second is after that when Nobunaga texts him, and the third is when he talks to Chrollo after the battle at Heaven's Arena, and right after, Hisoka appears to kill him. Sure enough, one time in 3, the Reaper did call to collect. So there's no doubt about it, Shalnark's fortune came true, and now we have to ask why. For those who don't recall, Neon Nostrad's fortunes are only supposed to extend 1 month into the future, and Shalnark was killed almost 2 years from when Chrollo used Lovely Ghostwriter to tell his fortune. Thus, that fortune should be irrelevant. So why the heck did it come true? One idea I've seen floated around is that Hisoka made it come true on purpose in order to mess with the troop. He was there when the fortunes were read, after all. Personally, I don't find this convincing. Nothing he did except killing Shalnark really cements the fortune, and he wanted to do that anyway. Plus, if Hisoka were intentionally trying to make the fortunes come true, why would he target Cordopi, who didn't have his fortune read at all? The more likely answer is that Hisoka targeted Shalnark and Cordopi so Chrollo couldn't reuse his strategy. Hisoka's actions just so happened to make that fortune come true. When it comes to the question of why Shalnark's fortune came true, it's Chrollo himself who gives us the answer we're actually looking for. In Chapter 377, Shizuku asks Chrollo to read the Phantom Troop's fortunes again, and Chrollo states that Lovely Ghostwriter has disappeared from Skill Hunter. In essence, this means that Neon is dead. So how, you might ask, does this explain anything? Well, viewers, it's quiz time. What's the one concept of Nen that Togashi has spent the Succession War arc drilling into our heads over and over and over? It's shown in the abilities of the first two princes. It's a central component of the Seed Urn ceremony. It's something Hisoka used to his advantage at Heaven's Arena. It's under the tongues of Beyond's children. It's what let Chrollo use Sun and Moon. It's what let Henry Big and Duffno get away with killing Padale. It's what manifested Prince Kacha's Nen Beast. It's what lets Benjamin spy on Camilla. And it's what Camilla's guards are all using to fuel their curses. That's right, I'm talking about Postmortem Nen. By the way, I was trying to name every single instance of Postmortem Nen Togashi's used in this arc to try and show just how pervasive it is. So let me know in the comments if I missed any. The point being, this is the Postmortem Nen arc. Togashi wants us to be constantly thinking about how the death of a Nen user can make their Nen abilities stronger. What I posit, then, is this. Neon's death increased the sway of fortunes told using her ability. Now, you might say this is a stretch, because it's not really Neon's ability anymore, is it? Chrollo stole it after all, so Postmortem Nen shouldn't affect it, right? Well, actually, the abilities in Chrollo's book still fundamentally belong to their original users. Chrollo has to abide by things like the original user's definition of what is a human being, which shows that the abilities in Chrollo's book retain parts of their original users' personalities and wills. Additionally, we have precedent for this exact thing happening already. Chrollo received the sun and moon from an elder of Meteor City who later died. Chrollo expected the ability to disappear from his book, but it in fact remained and became stronger. Thus, the death of an abilities user can affect the abilities in Chrollo's book, and we have this 100% confirmed. Okay, you might say, but in that case, why didn't Neon's ability behave the same way and remain in the book? That can be explained by what Postmortem Nen actually is. Postmortem Nen is fundamentally a reflection of the user's will that persists after their deaths, and this is the key to this theory. You see, the Elder of Meteor City almost certainly gave the sun and moon to Chrollo willingly. This person wanted Chrollo to use it, so when they died, it remained in Chrollo's book partly as a reflection of that will. Neon, however, never intended for Chrollo to steal her ability, and she likely suffered great hardship after her ability was stolen. Thus, it stands to reason that she would be angry at whatever caused her to lose her ability, in this case, Chrollo. Since she didn't intend for him to use Lovely Ghostwriter, Neon's ability disappeared from the book as usual when she died, but this doesn't mean that it simply faded away. The fortunes of ill omen that Lovely Ghostwriter created for the spiders had their reach extended into the present day as a sort of curse upon Chrollo. That's why, unbeknownst to Chrollo and the Phantom Troop, they are still subject to those expired fortunes, and since they don't realize that they need to take steps to avoid those fortunes, the fortunes are going to come true, since deliberately acting against them is the only way to avert them. I believe that Togashi included Chrollo's explanation of Postmortem Nen around the sun and moon in order to put the idea in our heads that the abilities in Chrollo's book are subject to Postmortem Nen and hint at this idea. If I'm right, then this is all a delicious twist of irony. See, as evidenced by Light Nostrad's breakdown, the Nostrad family needed Neon's powers in order to keep their standing in the underworld. Neon's death is probably a direct result of Chrollo stealing her ability. Without it, the Nostrad family lost everything that was keeping them in the game. In other words, Neon's death is Chrollo's fault. Thus, by stealing Neon's ability, which now curses his comrades, Chrollo sealed the Phantom Troop's fate himself. It continues a rather sad trend. Anytime Chrollo does something to try and help the rest of the troop, it backfires and causes the spiders harm. Just like Chrollo's community building exercise of recording tapes caused Sarasa to go scavenging by herself and be abducted, and just like Chrollo's faith that the spiders didn't need him and according actions resulted in the death of Pakunoda, it was Chrollo's desire to obtain Lovely Ghostwriter and tell his comrades' fortunes that ended up dooming them by solidifying those fortunes with Postmortem Nen. Chrollo Lucifer is ultimately a self-sacrificing and insecure person. Just like he thought he wasn't good enough to lead the troop when he was the clear and obvious choice, and just like he believed he wasn't important enough that the other troop members would risk themselves to get him back, Chrollo didn't have the confidence to get the spiders out of their predicament in Yorknew himself, and instead sought the reassuring certainty of Neon's fortune-telling ability. So what does this theory mean for the spiders nowadays? Well, to be honest, if I'm right, the news isn't good for them in the slightest. If Neon's fortunes are really going to come true, half of them are going to die. Now, this does not, by any means, mean that only half of them are going to die. Oh no. It probably just means that the half who were foretold to die in the fortunes will be the first to die. Once they do, the fortunes will be complete, and then anyone could be killed off. We don't know who every member of that half was, but at the very least, we know that Shizuku is on the chopping block and Nobunaga probably isn't. See, when someone is going to die, their fortune tends to go into detail about the circumstances surrounding their imminent death. But as you can see from Nobunaga's fortune, his death isn't mentioned. I also want to say, however, that his fortune describes him going off by himself, which is exactly what he has done, possibly providing more evidence that the fortunes are still coming true. Shizuku, on the other hand, is mega cooked. Here's her fortune. Her greatest fear should be solitude, and guess what? She is currently alone, having split off from Chrollo and Benolanov. She's also probably helping Chrollo look for the treasures of the Kakin Empire, which could easily be described as a chamber of treasure ill-gotten. At this rate, she's well on her way to having that fortune come true. Unfortunately, aside from Chrollo's, which does not specify death, and Pakunoda's, who's dead, that's all we know about the Phantom Troop's fortunes. However, we can draw a little bit more information out of what we've been given. The fortunes specify that 6 members of the Phantom Troop are fated to have died by the time those fortunes are up, and only the spiders who were part of the gang during Yorknu had their fortunes told, with the exceptions of Phaeton and Cordopi. So, with Uvigin, Pakunoda, Shalnark, and Cordopi dead, that means that Chrollo and Nobunaga, and possibly Illumi and Kaluto, are probably safe until 2 more members die. Based on what we know, I'm guessing that Shizuku will be one of those 2, and the other is probably going to be either Machi or Franklin. Watch my Phantom Troop tier list video if you want to know why. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this look at Neon's fortunes and how they might still be influencing the course of Hunter x Hunter. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a comment telling me all about it. For those of you who really like my stuff, you can also support me in my silly little dreams of going to nursing school through channel memberships. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.